SOFI stock is absolutely soaring. Congrats to any fellow SOFI shareholders out there. If you don't know why the stock is soaring, it's because they reported their Q4 2023 and full year 2023 results today. Needless to say, it was a record quarter on many fronts, including the very, very important headline that they achieved GAAP profitability for the first time in Q4. We expected this to occur. We expected SOFI to not only meet expectations, but beat expectations. This is a stock that has a very strong track record of beating analyst expectations quarter in and quarter out. They've done it yet again, and the stock is up nearly 20% as of recording this video. I saw the stock as high as $9.34 today. Now we've retraced just a little bit down to $9.15, which is still an absolutely insane gain on the day of nearly 20%, like I said. I think this price action is absolutely warranted. The stock was beaten down in a major way going into earnings. Before this earnings report and before today's trading day, stock was down like 25% year to date. So pretty much all of that loss on a year to date basis has been erased just in one day because of these smasher results. So we're going to talk about the results. We'll hit the headline numbers. We'll get a little bit nitty gritty, and make sure you stick around to the end of the video because we're going to talk about what I think is next for SOFI. What's going to be the story around SOFI? What potential headwinds are they going to have to face throughout 2024, 2025, and 2026? I'm going to get into that toward the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. Super excited for this video, but first, if you're new here, I'm Austin. I'm a co-owner of cloudbusinesssuite.com. I'm also a stock market investor, and most importantly for this video, I'm a SOFI shareholder. I've been a SOFI shareholder for a very long time now. It's a very large position for me, and needless to say, it was an absolutely amazing day in my portfolio. If you're not subscribed already, become one of those 2,700 or so people and drop a like for me before we get into the video. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's get into it. I want to start with the headline numbers so we can get a picture of what we're looking at. Then we'll dive into a few specific details of things I want to highlight through this report. We got fourth quarter revenue of $615 million on a GAAP basis, which is up 35% year over year, and $594 million on a non-GAAP basis, which is up 34% year over year. That is a pretty major beat and an acceleration sequentially, meaning Q3 of 2023 to Q4 of 2023, revenue growth rate actually accelerated. So it increased from Q3 to Q4. That's not very common. It's very typical for growth rates to slowly come down over time, 27%, 26%, 25%, and they drop slowly as the business becomes larger and larger. To see a re-acceleration of growth of revenue, that is very exciting, especially for a hyper-growth company like SOFI. Even with them hitting this GAAP profit for the first time and focusing on those profits, they've still got crazy revenue growth, and it's even accelerating sequentially. Very impressive. The next headline number is ridiculous. Fourth quarter adjusted EBITDA, $181 million, up 159% year over year. Ridiculous. These year over year change numbers as it relates to profitability are absolutely ridiculous. Some of them are like crazy like that, 159%. Some of them are so large that they're immeasurable. They swung from a loss to a profit over the course of the year. As they're flipping that profitability corner, those numbers can look ridiculous on a year over year basis. Next big headline is that Q4 EPS on a GAAP basis was positive. The forecast consensus was break even, 0.00 cents of EPS on the GAAP basis, and they beat that and came in with a 2-cent EPS on a GAAP basis. On an adjusted basis, 4 cents was expected. They met that with 4 cents reported in Q4. Member growth, 44% year over year. Total product growth, 41% year over year. Total deposit growth in the quarter of $2.9 billion. Tangible book value up very nicely in Q4 and in full year 2023. And then this is huge. To address some of Wall Street's concerns, they say diversification milestone of 40% fourth quarter adjusted net revenue from the tech platform and financial services blended together. So now that means 60% is coming from lending in terms of revenue and 40% is coming from tech platform and financial services. Their goal for 2024 is a 50-50 split for full year 2024. When we look at lending as 50% and then tech platform and financial services as 50%. If I had to give this earnings report a grade, it would be an A+. SOFI's management team has done a ridiculous job running this company. For a mid-cap company like SOFI, to have a management team as good as they have is super, super important for investor sentiment around the stock. People believe everything Anthony Noto says because he's proven that he's trustworthy and he's going to come through with the numbers. He's going to come through with the results quarter in and quarter out. This dude is a G and he's got absolute beasts around him. First nitty-gritty part I want to talk about is the technology platform. Technology platform connected accounts increased by 8 million sequentially, up to an all-time high of 145 million in Q4 of 2023. Check out this chart right here to see the growth. There was a little bit of a dip at the beginning of 2023 from 131 million down to 126, then back up to 129. Last quarter was very strong for the tech platform, and then another strong quarter in Q4 for the tech platform. Anthony Noto's goal of going after larger, more durable clients on the tech platform side is paying off in a major way, and I believe through the rest of 2024, based on my opinion, my research, and Noto's guidance that he was talking about all day today, is that the tech platform is going to have an insane year in 2024. Tech platform revenue in the quarter was all the way up to $96.9 million, which is up 13% on a year-over-year basis. Margins of 32% on the tech platform side, which is up 12 percentage points versus the prior year quarter. That's not 12 basis points, that's 12 percentage points. That's ridiculous. So they went from a 20% margin to a 32% margin in a 1 year span on the tech platform. Very, very impressive. That's what we need to see if the tech platform is going to be the AWS for SoFi, meaning it brings in an insane amount of contributable profit. We need to keep on seeing those margin expansions in a major way. As they scale the tech platform, they get more connected accounts on the tech platform. We should see that increase more and more and more, and margin improvements throughout the rest of 2024 and 2025. Let's move on to lending, and I want to specifically focus on origination volumes. All of these are compared to the prior year quarter. For personal loans, 31% increase. Student loans, 95% increase. We knew that was going to be a massive number. We had a 100% increase in Q3 on a year-over-year basis comparing to the prior year quarter. Now we have 95%. That makes a lot of sense. Student loans came back. Federal student loans came back for all borrowers. Tons of origination of student loans due to those refinances coming through. Home loan origination volumes up massively again in Q4. This is certainly due to the acquisition of Wyndham Capital. And remember, these origination volumes for home loans are in very, very high rate environment times, okay? Once we have those rates dropping, I would bet the home loan origination volumes are gonna rise in a massive way. Real quick, I gotta go back to the tech platform just to talk about how great of a quarter this has been and how much of an improvement we've had over the course of 2023. We talked about total tech platform revenue being up 13% year over year. That's not a crazy number, but it's very respectable. Even more important than that, directly attributable expenses to the tech platform dropped on a year-over-year basis. While the revenue is rising 13%, we get directly attributable expenses down by 4% on a year-over-year basis, and that brings contributable profit to $30.5 million, which is up a massive 81% on a year-over-year basis. The tech platform is becoming way more efficient, way more profitable. We're gonna see this continue. This is not going to slow down. They're gonna keep on making the tech platform more and more efficient, and it's going to be a profit machine for SoFi. I can't say enough good things about what they've done with the tech platform throughout 2023. I remember making videos in Q1 and Q2 of 2023 saying, wow, this has got to change. There is some big red flags in the tech platform side. They've got to make this improve to keep me a happy shareholder. Let me tell you what, they have kept me a happy shareholder. They've made the exact improvements that I wanted them to make. I cannot say enough good things about what they've done with the tech platform in 2023. Let's move on to financial services. Let's talk about product ads first. SoFi Money up 54% year over year. SoFi Invest up 10% year over year. Credit card products up 43% year over year. Referred loans up 35% year over year. SoFi Relay, which is where you track all your accounts, up 74% year over year. SoFi at Work 33% year over year. Total financial services products up 45% year over year. Amazing, absolutely ridiculous, and it's coming through in the numbers. Check this out. Total net revenue for financial services up 115% from about $65 million in the year ago quarter to almost $140 million in Q4 of 2023. Same time that revenue on the financial services side is growing by 115%, directly attributable expenses only rose by 5%. This is ridiculous, and that's what led to the contribution profit being so crazy of a swing on a year-over-year basis when we look at Q4 of 2022 to Q4 of 2023. We went from $43.5 million of a loss just on the financial services segment to $25 million of profit just on the financial services segment in Q4 of 2023 when we relate it to a year ago period. At this point, what can you say negative about SoFi? They're profitable for their first quarter ever. As long as they keep that, no one can say anything because this company is still growing at a massive clip, 35% total revenue, all these different product categories going absolutely nuts. Each one of the individual business segments becoming more and more profitable, swinging from massive losses to very respectable profits in a 1-year span. This management team is insane. Let's move on to management team guidance and outlook. First of all, let's talk about Q1 of 2024. We got some numbers here. Management team expects to generate $550 to $560 million of adjusted net revenue. I think they're sandbagging that number a little bit so they can come in and smash it. I think we'll be above $560 million. We'll see how that all shakes out. They're also guiding for $110 to $120 million of adjusted EBITDA. And then on a GAAP basis, net income of $10 to $20 million. That's down sequentially, but it's still in the positive. So they're still GAAP profitable in Q1 of 2024, assuming they meet expectations. And speaking more on profitability, they said for full year 2024, they expect GAAP net income of $95 million to $105 million, which would be 7 cents a share or 8 cents a share, respectively. They didn't necessarily say the words, we're going to be profitable on a GAAP basis every single quarter throughout 2024, but they are saying for full year 2024, we're going to be profitable. I don't think they'll drop below GAAP profitability in Q1, 2, 3, or 4. I think we'll get 4 in a row of GAAP profits on the bottom line. And then the management team actually gave some pretty long-term outlook here. They say looking beyond 2024, management expects somewhere between 20 and 25% compounded revenue growth for the time period of 2023 through 2026, and that assumes no meaningful changes in macroeconomic environment and no significant new business changes. Based on their modeling, this implies a 50% compound growth for financial services revenue, mid 20% compound growth for the technology platform revenue. If we get mid 20% growth in technology platform revenue, the contributable profit from that is going to explode. I would say 2x of that. And then they say they're expecting mid-teens compound growth for the lending segment revenue. I think that's very, very conservative. I think they could smash that each year, 2024, 2025, and 2026. And based on all that modeling, they say this could drive between 55 cents and 80 cents of EPS in 2026. Based on those profit numbers, if you want to run some forward PE numbers on this and you don't own SoFi shares already, you might want to after you run those forward PE numbers. So as you can tell, I feel really, really good about this quarter. I had an amazing day in my portfolios. I'm a super happy SoFi shareholder right now. We got rewarded in a major way for very, very, very good earnings. If the stock dropped today, I would still be a very happy SoFi shareholder. Of course, I'm happy that the stock rose 20% on the day and I made a ridiculous amount of money. But more importantly than that, this is a very fundamentally strong company, and they just got so much stronger by flipping to EPS profits. It de-risks the business in an insane way. It's hard to quantify how much it de-risks the business. And more important than that, it brings a new, more positive sentiment around SoFi. And the fact that they guided for full year 2024 to be profitable, that kind of puts to rest one of the things that some analysts are still going to talk about. Don't be surprised if you see some Wall Street analysts saying, yeah, it was a one-off quarter. Can they do it again? And then when they do it again in Q1 of 2024, they're going to say the same thing. Well, it was 2 in a row. I mean, that's nothing. Can they do 3 in a row? Let's see if they can do it again. We'll get some downgrades based on that alone. That and the fact that there's still going to be some negativity around the fair value accounting of SoFi's loans, meaning as the rates drop, the value of the loans might drop along with it, probably will. If analysts think that SoFi's management team is not taking that into account, I'm not sure they really understand what SoFi does or anything about their management team. To me, this is a non-issue. It's something that you could blow up in your brain if you want to freak out and get nervous, but look at all the other segments of the business. Profit is exploding. I'm not worried at all about the fair value accounting situation with the rates dropping from the Fed. So now that SoFi is profitable, there is a much larger shareholder base that will consider buying the stock. We've got the best of both worlds with SoFi. Growth, beast, now profitable. As long as they keep that just like they guided, which I'm sure they will because this management team has a history of delivering on their results, as long as they keep that GAAP profit on a yearly basis throughout 2024, then this stock is set to have a ridiculous 2024, a ridiculous 2025, and a ridiculous 2026. I cannot wait for the next 3, 5, 7 years to watch this story continue to play out. It's been a wild ride so far, and I can't wait to see where the management team takes this thing. What am I doing with SOFI stock? Did I buy more shares today? No, but I did buy some shares last week. Small number of shares. I was like, why is the stock dropping in a major way? I'm pretty sure next week's earnings are gonna be a banger. So I was buying last week, not crazy heavy, because this is a very large position for me. As the stock kept dropping, I kept on adding. It dropped more, I added more. I've slowed down my purchases in a major way. Early to mid 2023 was the last time I was really buying heavy. For the most part, I have built out my SOFI position. I am a holder for the next many years. I'm not the type of guy that goes all in on one stock. SOFI is already very much overweight in my portfolio. I'm happy with my allocation. But as always, if we drop in a major way, which it doesn't look like is very likely, I will for sure be picking up more shares. And the last thing I gotta say about SOFI that's more of a long-term outlook, if they hold profitability for all of 2024, all of the quarters of 2024, and they keep that GAAP profitable status in Q1 of 2025, SOFI is going to be in the conversation for S&P 500 inclusion. I don't think those talks are gonna start until they have multiple quarters in a row of GAAP EPS profit. But once those conversations do start, you should expect a very nice rise in the share price over the next few months leading up to that potential S&P 500 inclusion. It's going to be a while from now, 5 quarters, 6 quarters, 7 quarters, maybe even 2 years from now that it takes SOFI to get included in the S&P 500, but I see it in their future. Amazing quarter with SOFI. I want to hear what you're doing down in the comments below. Are you a holder of SOFI? Are you buying? Are you selling into this strength on this 20% day? What's your plan? What's your strategy around SOFI? I want to hear about it. That's one of my favorite parts of posting here on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. Have an amazing day.